It's not every day that a presidential candidate calls the president of the United States a racist. It doesn't happen very often in politics. By the way, he's not the only one. Of course, we're talking about Joe Biden, his remarks yesterday in regards to President Trump. We'll get to that here in just a few moments. But I want to start with Representative Bobby Rush. Is Donald Trump a racist? Well, Representative Bobby Rush out of Illinois claimed on SiriusXM's The Joe Madison Show yesterday that President Donald Trump wants to instigate a race war. He also says that he is the real grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Very strong words. Have a listen to this.
Trump wants to instigate a race war. He want to have black folks fighting white folks so he can rise up and say, I'm the real grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm the president. He re-elect me. That's what he's trying to do.
All right, so that's some strong language there. But Joe Biden...
that's inflammatory, Brian.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into your opinions and my opinions on it. I do think Trump is a racist, but Joe Biden feels that way as well. Listen to what Joe Biden said yesterday in an interview.
No sitting president has ever done this. Never, never, never. No Republican president has done this. No Democratic president. We have racists, and they've existed. They've tried to get elected president. He's the first one that has.
Okay, so I agree with half of what he says. I do believe that Donald Trump is a racist, and I'll go into my reasons why, and you can disagree with me, and you can go into your reasons why you don't think
I'll actually tell you why I think Joe Biden is a racist.
Okay, so we can get into that.
That's fine.
But I don't believe that if Donald Trump is a racist, which I do believe he is, he's not the first president to be a racist. So I think Joe Biden misspoke on that
Woodrow
one.
Wilson.
But of course. So that's why I say I agree with half of what he said. Mary Trump, who happens to be Donald Trump's niece, as you know, she has a new book out. She appeared on MSNBC's Rachel Maddow show. Listen to what she said about Donald Trump and the Trump family's use of the N-word in the past. Have a listen to this.
Oh, yeah, of course I did. And I don't think that should surprise anybody, given how virulently racist he is today. Have you heard the president use the N-word? Yeah. And anti-Semitic slurs specifically? Yes.
All right, so that's not good when your niece says that, regardless of whether she has a book coming out or not. Also, let's go to Michael Cohen.
The niece that you've never been in a picture with, who I don't think she's ever met Donald Trump.
That's 100% factually inaccurate. She absolutely has, and even Donald Trump admits that. So I don't know where you're getting that from. That's not true, what you just said.
She's basically implying that she was around the Trump household on a very, very consistent basis when they were growing up.
You just said she's never met Trump.
She has a book
and that's not
coming
true.
out. Donald Trump has been seen in thousands and thousands of pictures.
Okay, so Donald Trump...
He's never been seen one picture with Mary Trump.
I'm just letting you know to give you the information because
she's clearly getting paid.
Okay, but what you just said is not true. She has been around Trump.
I don't even think she's met Donald Trump.
Well, you're wrong because Donald Trump even admits that he has. So I'm just saying you're wrong, according to the President of the United States. How many times they've hung out together, nobody knows the answer to that. But just because she's not in a picture doesn't mean she's lying. Michael Cohen, as you know, Donald Trump's personal attorney for many, many years. By the way, he just got out of jail. This is what Michael Cohen says is coming up in his upcoming book. He says, my book will provide graphic and unflattering details about the president's behavior behind closed doors. Cohen wrote in a court filing, it describes the president's anti-Semitic remarks and racist remarks against such black leaders as President Barack Obama and Nelson Mandela, neither of whom he viewed as real leaders or as worthy of respect by virtue of their race. So I'm going to give you a little bit of what you would call a laundry list of some of the things that Donald Trump has done over the course of his lifetime and his presidency, JD, and then I will give you ample time to respond, and then we will take some phone calls at 702-257-5396, and I'm asking the question, do you think Donald Trump is a racist? Let's go all the way back to 1973, when the U.S. Department of Justice sued the Trump Management Corporation for violating the Fair Housing Act. Trump said the federal government was trying to get him to rent to welfare recipients, and in the aftermath, he signed an agreement in 75 agreeing not to discriminate to renters. Kip Brown, if you recall, this was in the 80s. He was a former employee at Trump's castle. He accused another one of Trump's businesses of discrimination. He said when Donald and Ivana came to the casino, the bosses would order all the black people off the floor. It was the 80s. I was a teenager, he said, but I remember it. They put us all in the back. If you recall, in 89,
Now, do you know why that was, that particular article, the Kip Brown one? Because they had one player in particular who was racist.
I was getting to that.
Okay.
I was getting to that, but that doesn't make it right, by the way.
I'm not saying it's right, but you're making it.
That doesn't make it right.
By not finishing that, you're making it sound like he just tried to create a Rosa Parks situation with people that of color that were working for him, and that's just not the case.
Just because you have a customer that is a racist doesn't mean you should do whatever that customer says, regardless of whether they're betting $1 million a hand or $5 a hand. Wrong is wrong. They were wrong. The Central Park 5, another situation where Donald Trump was wrong. Donald Trump said of the Central Park 5, bring back the death penalty. Bring back our police. Okay, the teens are out now after spending they were at the time 13 years in prison. And this is the worst part of this whole situation. Trump still believes they're guilty, despite DNA evidence that proved to the contrary. Oh yeah, they happen to be black. A book by John O'Donnell, former president of the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, quoted Trump's criticism of a black accountant. Black guys counting my money, he said. I hate it. I think black people are lazy, and it's probably not their fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. I believe that. It's not anything they can control. Here's the best part about this, folks, or the worst part, depending on which way we look at it. Trump later admitted in the 1997 Playboy interview that O'Donnell was probably telling the truth. He called black people lazy, doesn't want him to count his money. The Trump Plaza Hotel had to pay $200,000 fine because it transferred black and women dealers off tables.
By the way, Brian, what else did he pay? What else did he say in that interview with Playboy? Who did he say he wanted counting his money and why?
What are you talking about?
He said I want someone who's wearing a yarmulke to count my money.
Right, which is also anti-Semitic.
That's what he said.
Which is also anti-Semitic. I want somebody with a yarmulke to count my money. That's how you defend Donald Trump? That's an anti-Semitic remark. You're saying you want somebody Jewish to count your money? How is that not anti-Semitic?
You think that's anti-Semitic?
Why would you take someone's religion and say you want them to count your money when being a Jew and money is a stereotype of the Jewish people? How do you not understand that? Are you kidding me right now? Are you being serious? When somebody in a casino says, that guy's wearing a yarmulke, I want him to count my money, you don't understand how that could be anti-Semitic or construed or hurt Jewish people to make a statement like that? That's your defense of Donald Trump?
No, I'm saying that was part of the statement.
Which makes it worse.
I'm saying that's what he said.
Which makes the statement worse.
In part of that statement.
Which makes the statement worse. Not only are you saying I don't want someone to count my money because they're black, but you're saying I want him to count my money because Jews are good with money. That is the stereotype of Jewish people. That makes the statement even worse. I'm glad you brought that up. He's also an anti-Semite and a racist. Thank you for bringing that up. The Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino had to pay $200,000 fine because it transferred black and women dealers off tables to accommodate a big-time gambler's prejudices. That happened, by the way, in 92. Kip Brown's situation happened in 1980. Trump publicly pitched in The Apprentice he wanted it to be black people versus white people. He said he wasn't particularly happy with the most recent season of the show, so he was considering an idea that is fairly controversial. Yes, I agree with him. That would have been controversial. He also created a team of successful African Americans versus a team of successful whites. He also played a big role in pushing false rumors that Obama was not born in this country. Do we remember the birthalism issue, which, by the way, he never apologized for? Trump also suggested that Obama wasn't born in the U.S. He also urged that maybe Obama wasn't a good enough student to have gotten into Columbia or Harvard Law School, demanded Obama release his university transcripts. He also claimed, I heard he was a terrible student. Never told us where he heard that from. Let's go to the fact when he was president of the United States the last 3.5 years, okay? Remember when he argued back in 2016 that Judge Curiel was overseeing the Trump University lawsuit? He should recuse himself from the case because of his Mexican heritage and membership in a Latino Lawyers Association. By the way, the man was born in this country. Not that that would make it any better or worse. Absurd. He has been repeatedly slow to condemn white supremacists and endorsing them, and he regularly retweeted messages from white supremacists and neo-Nazis. He tweeted and later deleted an image that showed Hillary Clinton in front of a pile of money and by a Jewish Star of David. Trump has repeatedly referred to Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas throughout 2017. He attacked NFL players for kneeling, calling them sons of bitches. He said in 2017 that people who come to the U.S. from Haiti all have AIDS. Now, listen, I can go on and on with more examples, but I just gave you not just the last 3.5 years, but his lifetime. the disgusting things that he said in his behavior, and that is why I believe he's a racist. And now we're going to hear from JD. I do want to open up the phone lines. Let me just give out that number, 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. But I just want to give you a chance to respond to what I just said. You do understand, me being Jewish, if somebody pointed at me and I was wearing a yarmulke and somebody looked at me and said, I want you to count my money because you're wearing a yarmulke.
If someone assumed that you were good with money under those circumstances,
because of my yarmulke,
how is that anti-Semitic? I don't understand that. So how is praising you?
I can't believe we're having this conversation.
No, I'm just asking. I'm serious.
Okay,
how is that? How do praising you for something?
I can't
on a stereotypical scale. I get that, but how is that considered anti? I don't get that.
Okay, so let me give you an example. If somebody looked at somebody that was black and said, you must be a great basketball player, that would be racist. If somebody looks at me and they judge me based on my religion, and hold on a second.
Wait, so if you see someone that's 6'9",
no, I didn't say 6'9".
Like for example,
I didn't say 6'9". You're adding something to the story. Let me explain to you from a Jewish person because I don't think you understand.
Okay, well, basketball is different because it requires. There's a height requirement.
Assuming that somebody is good at basketball because they're black is a stereotype.
You wouldn't just assume that. You would look at what's been going on.
Exactly.
The type of athletes that are in the NBA. And you would say if you're 6'9", like Stretch Sanders, for example, like Stretch Sanders, who's 6'10", you would assume he's good at basketball.
Focus for me
because
for a
he's
second.
6'10".
I understand.
And he is the same race as.
Focus for me for a second.
Someone
let's forget about that.
Because the NBA is comprised of about 98% African Americans.
I think you're going too much into it. So
I think
that. Listen to what I'm saying about the Jewish people.
You're being overly sensitive over this situation.
That's absurd. I think you're ignorant to what is stereotypes of Jewish people, and I'm trying to explain it to you. The stereotype of Jewish people is money. It is the same thing that Stephen Jackson said when he said the Jews run all the banks. It is a nasty.
That is not even close to the same thing as that.
Okay. Hold on a second. Hear me out. When Donald Trump looks at someone wearing a yarmulke and he's judging and assuming that they are good with money simply because they are Jewish, that is the definition of a stereotype and anti-Semitism when you judge somebody and you assume they're good with money because they're wearing a yarmulke. If you don't understand that, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm saying it in the simplest possible way I can.
Okay, Brian.
You don't think that's a stereotype?
I won't argue it either way.
There's nothing wrong with that?
I said I won't argue it either way. Now,
do you understand where I'm coming from when I say that? If you judge somebody and you assume they're good at money because they're wearing a yarmulke, can you not understand that that is a stereotype of the Jewish people?
I don't see how it's anti.
Okay.
Just because over the course of your life you've dealt with X amount of people, whether they're attorneys or CPAs or something along those lines, and the majority of them have been Jewish, to assume that based on experiences in your life. I don't see how that's anti-Semitic.
Once again,
I understand there's definitely a stereotype involved, but I don't get the anti part of it.
When it is a stereotype,
I get half of it, not the other half.
A stereotype that assumes something about somebody because of race or religion. That's exactly what we're talking about. I don't understand what you're. Okay, listen. I tried to explain it to you in the simplest possible way.
It's totally fine. That being said, Bobby Rush. We'll go back to Trump. Bobby Rush mentioned how Trump is probably the leader of the KKK. Well, actually, Joe Biden is seen in several pictures holding hands with Robert Burt, the former West Virginia senator, who was a very prominent member of the KKK. And Joe Biden in 1977.
Why are we talking about Joe Biden now? The subject we can get to Joe Biden.
I actually explained that to you. Like I said, I'll tell you why I think Joe Biden is a racist.
But we
kind of got derailed.
We can get to Joe Biden. We didn't get derailed. Can we stay on topic?
Sure.
I just gave you about 50 things that Donald Trump has done in his life.
I don't think that Donald Trump is racist.
So nothing I said in there speaks racism.
That being said, he has given 375, or he signed a bill for $375 million to historic black colleges, which is the most any president's ever done. He has started opportunity zones to try to basically get investors to push money. He's hoping to get $1.4 billion to put into African American communities. He has gone through a significant amount of prison reform, and African American unemployment is down. Well, it was down to 5.5%, which is the lowest ever. Now, Barack Obama brought that number down from 12.5% to about 8%. But Donald Trump brought the number further down because of regulations, looser regulations on businesses, which allowed to hire more people.
All right, so I'll respond to that by saying just because some of your policies are working does not mean you're not a racist. And I just named about 20 reasons why I think he's a racist. You didn't respond to any of them.
Why would he implement those policies if he has a legitimate disdain for.
Sure, I'll answer that.
No, why would he do that?
Sure, I'll answer that. Maybe because
doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to answer it for you. Maybe, just maybe, it's because he wants more black voters and he wants to be reelected in November. 702-257.
But if he's making their better,
Okay,
if he's making African American lives better, then why is that a bad thing?
Throughout the course of his life, and I just named you about 20 of them, he has not.